Ravine Flyer 2 is an awesome gravity group wood hybrid coaster located all the way in the back of Waldameer in Erie, Pennsylvania. This is a very cool ride. If you're familiar with the Voyage at Holiday World, the best way I could describe this ride is take that, but make it about half the size. Not quite as long, but it's very reminiscent of that coaster. It opened in 2008, 2 years after the Voyage. It features a height of 80 feet, but a drop of 118 feet. This is absolutely a terrain coaster, and it has a lot of really cool elements, this drop being one of them, since it is almost 40 feet bigger than its height. The ride also features multiple tunnels, including a truss that passes out over a road. And let me tell you, when you're on it, I don't even think you realize that you're passing over a road. This thing is very well paced. It feels fast. This is going to be my full in-depth review of the attraction based off of my experiences on it. I first rode it back in 2017, and I just recently had the opportunity to experience it again, and I had forgotten just how good this ride is. It definitely is not talked about enough. So let's walk through this experience. First, I want to address the name, Ravine Flyer 2. The coaster is a reference to a past attraction at Waldameer. It was another wind roller coaster that operated from 1922 to 1938. That was the original Ravine Flyer. It was a John Miller attraction. And Ravine Flyer 2 is actually built on the same plot of land that attraction occupied. Obviously, it was nowhere near the size or scale of this coaster, but I think that's a cool way to acknowledge its past. It's also funny how just down the midway you can find Ravine Flyer 3, which is a kiddie coaster. Can't wait for them to add a new steel coaster called Ravine Flyer 4. But you enter the station, you'll board your PTC trains. These are 2 bench cars, and a total of 6 cars, making for 24 passengers per train. For this coaster, I do recommend experiencing both the front row and the back. I love the front because you can really feel that speed. It also has great airtime up there, but the back, you really get whipped through everything. They're awesome for different reasons. You'll take a left-hand turn and start up your lift, and this is a pretty short lift. It didn't feel that way when we had the opportunity to walk it, but when you're on the coaster car going up, it reaches the top in no time. And let me tell you, this ride has a stunning view. Waldameer is located right on Lake Erie, and this coaster faces the lake. So right as you're cresting over, it's like bam, right there. It is so cool. It's one of the only places in the park that you can actually see the water, and it is gorgeous. I also love how it has all the flags at the top, very Voyage-esque, you know. So you crest over that drop, it's at a 60-degree angle, but you start to bank partway down, and so it doesn't feel like a true drop. It's almost more CCI-esque, kind of swooping to the right there. And the first thing you do is enter a tunnel. That's where you reach your max speed at 57 miles per hour, and you shoot out onto the truss that passes out over the road. And it's completely enclosed, which is very smart because if you had any loose articles, I mean, it could fly off and hit some cars, but that's not going to happen here. But the start of this attraction is just so fast-paced and quick that before you know it, you're already out on the other side of the road where you enter this complex turnaround. You first go low and bank to the left and then to the right, kind of this fast-paced S-bend, and then you rise up to the top, and that's again where you get that amazing view. This is the second highest point of the coaster, and then you drop back towards the truss into another airtime hill. And these 2 hills that go out over the road are spectacular. You absolutely go flying up out of your seat. And honestly, what this hill reminded me of is Renegade at Valley Fair, because that has an airtime hill that also goes out over a road, but that airtime hill does nothing. It's like the only dead spot on the coaster. This opened a year later, and the airtime hills that go out over the road are some of the best parts of the attraction. So it's just a fun comparison of which one worked and which one didn't when given the same concept. If you enter another tunnel, there's another airtime hill through here. And it's actually one of 2 because as soon as you exit that one, you get thrown into another through this little half tunnel. That moment feels like a double up. I don't know if it actually is, but because this coaster is built on the hillside, it does have to throw you back up, so I wouldn't be surprised if that is a double up after all. You bank sharply to the left, now you're back towards where the park is. You enter another great moment where you're lifted up out of your seat, and this is kind of that spaghetti bowl finale, where you're banking to the left, you pass under the lift, get thrown to the right, and you can see here in this POV, this is all fresh wood. When we most recently rode this attraction, you could see that they had just done some retracking. And while I would say the coaster as a whole was smooth, this part in particular definitely stood out. Also, shout out to that banking. Look how much you're angled there, and you're just hovering so low to the ground. You passed right by that other tunnel that you went through, this time going the opposite direction, still hugging the hillside, this time going back up into another airtime pop. And this very end right here can vary depending on the time of day that you ride it. When you go early in the morning, there are 2 just very calm humps into the brake run. But when you do it later on, this part still keeps that same pace from earlier, a bit more forceful hills, and then you fly into the brake run, coming to a hard stop. So in my most recent experience, I rode it early in the morning and then later in the afternoon, and you absolutely could tell a difference. It's amazing what happens as soon as you fill a train of riders. All that extra weight really does impact the speed of this thing. But it's a little beast of a coaster. I wish it was at a park that I had the opportunity to visit more often. Waldameer is definitely up there. Like, even if you're around Pittsburgh, it's still 2 hours away. It's also funny to me how everyone talks about these coasters on Lake Erie, but not this coaster on Lake Erie. Definitely kind of a hidden gem of an attraction, but it's a wonderful experience from start to finish. It wasn't rough. It had so many great moments. It was a mix of elements. It had the airtime, it had the twister sections, and it was awesome use of the terrain. For its final score, I'm giving Ravine Flyer 2 a 9 out of 10. It is absolutely an underrated wooden coaster. The only reason why it's not getting a perfect score is because sometimes it does lag a bit there at the very end. But if you catch it on a good day, that won't bother you at all. I think this is such a cool coaster. Again, my only gripe with it is that it's at a park I don't get the chance to visit as often as I would like. If this were at a place like a Cedar Fair park, it would absolutely be one of the best coasters there. But it's just this one-of-a-kind attraction here at Waldameer, and it's the reason that you'll want to go to that park. Gravity Group absolutely killed it. I know for a fact I would love to see more coasters like this in the future. So that's going to do it for this video. And just a reminder, in case you missed our Pantheon versus Velocicoaster video, Jurassic World Alive is still running a sweepstakes to celebrate its 4th anniversary. Participants can enter for a chance to win a visit to Universal Parks and Resorts in either Hollywood or Orlando. So if that interests you, there's a link down below in the description with details of how you can enter, as well as a link to download Jurassic World Alive. So be sure to check that out. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to stay tuned for more coaster reviews here at Coaster Studios, and we'll see you next time.